You're listening to CJSF 90.1 FM, online at www.cjsf.ca, broadcasting from Burnaby, British Columbia, at Simon Fraser University. And this is KPWE with This Week in BC Minor League Sports. During this half-hour show today, we'll recap the first weekend of the BC Major Midget League playoffs, as there are some very exciting games to open the 2014 postseason, featuring a few great third-period comebacks. Now, 8 teams were in action last weekend, playing in 4 different quarter-final series as the playoffs began. Now, for those of you who are new to this program, the BC Major Midget League is a league for 15 to 17-year-olds playing competitive hockey in the province of British Columbia. And of course, because this is community radio, we don't do any major league sports on this program, so I'm not going to talk about the Canucks or anything like that. And also because there's plenty of minor league sports or junior sports locally for you to check out. For example, minor hockey, especially if you're here in the lower mainland. And the games that I'm going to talk about are, free to attend. So, this is no cost to you to come out and watch some of these young hockey players play competitive hockey. And so what I'm going to be focusing here on this program in this half hour, because it is hockey season, is the BC Major Midget League. And, the first round of the playoffs are already over, and the second round has already begun. So what they do with the playoffs is that they play a best-of-3 series, which goes on Friday, Saturday, and then on Sunday. So the first games of the semifinal series were played last night. I'm going to go over all of the games in the quarterfinal round, and then I'll look ahead to the semis for this weekend right here on CJSF 90.1 FM. And just some more background information about the BC Major Midget League. It was established in 2004 to provide elite level 15, 16, and 17-year-old players an opportunity to play within their own age group at a high level. This league also helps to develop these young hockey players as they prepare for junior hockey leagues and beyond. And with the BC Major Midget League, there are games being held every weekend during the regular season, either in the Lower Mainland, right here in Burnaby, Langley, Richmond, or Coquitlam, or out of town in Prince George, Nanaimo, Victoria, Kelowna, and a few other areas. Now, all of the games are free to attend, so it's good to check out this league if you're interested in some minor hockey action. And last weekend's playoff games, took place in Burnaby, Langley, and Richmond. The majority of them anyway. So there were some games, for you to check out if you were in the area. And oftentimes, you really don't hear much, if anything, about these leagues. Perhaps if you pick up like the community newspaper, you might see some write-up about these teams. So it's nice to be able to have the opportunity to talk about the BC Major Midget League on our sports program here on CJSF Radio. And as far as these players, what they do afterwards, some of them do end up playing in the NHL if they are, that good, because National Hockey League players such as Brandon Gallagher, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, and Evander Kane, just to name a few, they played in this league in their teens. In fact, in 2010, there were 16 former BC Major Midget League players who got drafted by NHL teams, including Gallagher, and there were 10 former players from the BC Major Midget League drafted in 2013 by NHL teams. So you could be seeing future National Hockey League stars if you come out and take in some of these games in the BC Major Midget League. So one of these future stars could be playing in a rink near you. So you're seeing these guys playing hockey when they're 15 to 17 years of age as they try to move on into junior hockey and beyond. So it's a treat, certainly, to get a chance to watch them at your local rink. And I've been watching them this past season. It's really competitive on most nights, and it's really good hockey action, and again, free to attend. So some great games to check out, and also some great players in this league as well. Now, let's take a look at the BC Major Midget League scoreboard playoff edition, as 8 teams were in action to open the first round of the playoffs in the quarter-final round. So with the game action, let's start off 21st at the Burnaby Winter Club right here at 4990 Canada Way in Burnaby, where the number 1 seed Vancouver Northwest Giants took on the 8th place South Island Royals in their best-of-3 series, which began on Friday night, March the 7th. The Giants had won the last 7 games of the regular season and clinched first place on the final day of the season. They'd lost just 5 games all year and hadn't lost since January the 26th. So they're coming into the playoffs on a roll. The Royals, meanwhile, they finished 8th and they squeaked into the playoffs on the final day of the season despite losing to Fraser Valley. Now, so on paper, it looked like a mismatch, but that's not the case in Game 1, and that's why they play the games. Now, the Royals jumped out to a 2-0 lead in the first period on goals by Duncan Cochran and captain Nick Gainey, stunning the Giants. So it's 2-0 after the first period. But the Giants regrouped as their own captain, Quint Thompson, put them on the scoreboard early in the second period to cut the deficit to 2-1. The Royals actually made it 3-1 at the midway point of the stanza before Justin Zito and high-scoring defenseman Dante Fabro scored late in the period for the Giants to tie the game at 3-3. So quite a nail-biter in this game. And then Royals captain Nick Gainey got his second goal of the game just a minute and 46 seconds into the third period. And suddenly, the Royals, the underdog Royals, the 8th place team, has a 4-3 lead early in the third period. Now, could they pull off the upset? No, because the Giants tied it at 4-4 2 minutes later, and for the next 15 minutes, nobody could score. So neither the Giants nor the South Island Royals could score over the next 15 periods, and it looked like it was going to go into overtime, tied 4-4. But with just 1 minute and 27 seconds remaining in the third period, Keegan Jones scored for the Giants to put them ahead 5-4. The Giants scored another goal with time winding down and went on to record a 6-4 victory in Game 1 of their quarterfinal series. Now, the Giants have a lot of big guns such as Thompson, Zito, Owen Stout, and Colton Kerfoot, but it was one of their unsung heroes, Keegan Jones, who got the game winner. He scored 2 goals on the second last game of the regular season, and isn't a big scorer with only 11 goals in 40 games. But a big goal to help the Giants win the first game. And remember, it's only a best-of-3 series, so each game is crucial, obviously. The series then resumed on Saturday night at the Burnaby Winter Club again, and of course Saturday was International Women's Day. Just an aside here, Young Women in Business SFU, that's YWIB SFU, they organized a day-long conference downtown to celebrate International Women's Day on Saturday, and actually I was there to check it out, and it was an amazing event. The ladies did a fantastic job organizing it, so I just wanted to give a little shout out to them for their great effort, the great job that they did. So that's where I spent Saturday morning and afternoon checking out that conference. And then it was off to the Burnaby Winter Club as I took in the game on Saturday night between the Vancouver Northwest Giants and the South Island Royals. Now, probably what happened here with this game, Game 2, I would guess, is that the Giants were full of confidence after their big win on Friday night, and it carried over into Game 2 on Saturday night. The Giants came out firing, and they outshot the Royals 24-2 in the first period, and all of the action happened in the Royal zone. They peppered Royals goaltender Chris Smith with 24 shots in that first period. They scored twice to go ahead 2-0. Now, the Burnaby Winter Club is one of the few rinks that has the shot totals on the scoreboard, so I was monitoring that throughout the game. And I think at one point the shots were something like 34-4 in the second period. It was just ridiculous. But the South Island goalie, Smith, was able to keep his team in the game on Saturday. But Captain Quint Thompson scored with 7:59 left in the second period for the Giants to make it 3-0, and the game was pretty much over at that point. The Giants scored 2 more in the third period, including Colton Kerfoot, the league's second leading scorer, getting his first goal of the playoffs. The final shots were 59-16. And Giants goalie Trevor Withers got the shutout as Vancouver Northwest moved on to the second round with a 5-0 victory over the South Island Royals. So an unfortunate end to the season for the Royals. They looked like they had a chance to come out and win the first game on Friday, fell just short, and unfortunately were blown out in the second game. So the season ends for South Island, and the Giants, meanwhile, move on. I spoke with Giants head coach Clint Thornton after the game. We're with Clint Thornton, the head coach of the Vancouver Northwest Giants. So 5-0 win tonight to clinch the quarterfinal series against South Island. Thoughts about the series?
Well, I think they came out really hard yesterday, and they had a game plan, and they executed for the most part. We had to make a few adjustments to counter it, and our guys bought in, and bottom line, they worked a little harder today.
Obviously, you guys are on a hot streak. You guys won the last 7 games of the regular season to win the regular season title. You guys haven't lost since January the 26th. So what's been the keys to you guys' success?
I think it's just keeping on the level head. They just keep every game they show up, they prepare the same way, and there's no one's getting any egos or getting ahead of themselves. We just keep the same pace.
Now, next up for you guys, Clint, would be either the Chiefs or the Canadians. They're going to a Game 3 tomorrow, so best of luck next week, and hopefully we'll see you in the TELUS Cup.
Thank you very much.
And I also chatted with Keegan Jones after Saturday's game as well. Jones, of course, scored the game winner in Game 1 that helped to propel the Giants to the series sweep. I know I said I wouldn't mention the NHL, but Keegan Jones is great. He said to me off the air that he's an Alex Ovechkin fan, so I asked him about it during the interview. Well, with Keegan Jones, a forward of the Vancouver Northwest Giants, a 5-0 victory tonight, and you guys sweep the South Island Royals. Tell us about tonight's game.
I think that after yesterday's tough game, both teams came out hard, but I think that we just knew what we had to do after yesterday, and the whole team was ready for the game today. And we came off right off the opening whistle. We came strong, and I think we just put them away early and kept going with that.
Now, perhaps the turning point of the series came last night in Game 1 when you scored the winner with about a minute and a half left. Thoughts about that?
It was a great experience for me. The whole team loved it. I don't know. It's awesome. It's a great feeling to really score the winning goal. It's a natural drug. It just feels great to get the win for the boys.
Now, Keegan, great. And now, Keegan, I understand that you are an Ovechkin fan. Can you tell us about that?
I don't know. I just like the way he plays. I like watching him on the TV. He's just a great player. Seems like a nice guy, too.
Awesome. And finally, Keegan, would like to say hi to anyone out there?
My mom and my dad. They mean a lot to me. Love you guys.
All right, awesome. So thanks so much again, and congratulations on the win. Good luck the rest of the way.
Thank you very much.
Sorry about the little, a little noise during that interview, because it was quite a noisy rink, and of course with the Giants clinching the victory, lots of people were excited, and there wasn't really a quiet area in the rink, so I had to do the interview right there. So a lot of the noise that you hear in the background were people just celebrating the Giants series sweep over the South Island Royals. Now, so the Giants moved on. What about the other series in the league? Now, on Friday night, March the 7th, the third-place Valley West Hawks opened the playoffs against the sixth-place Caribou Cougars at the Langley Sportsplex, and it looked like there would be an upset in the series opener, because Valley West did open the scoring with a goal by Davis Koch with 5:03 left in the first period, and the Hawks led 1-0 after 20 minutes, but they totally outplayed the Cougars in the opening period, and they were only ahead by 1 goal. Now, I was at that game, but the Langley Sportsplex scoreboard doesn't have the shot total, so I don't know for sure, but I think the Hawks must have had at least 15 shots on Caribou goalie Lane Delves in the first period alone, and most of them were great scoring opportunities, but just a 1 goal by the Valley West Hawks. Now, in the second period, Caribou got 2 goals, with Riley Petit scoring at the midway point of the stanza, and defenseman Brian Elby scoring the go-ahead goal with 4:10 remaining. Both goals came on the power play, and the Cougars were ahead 2-1 after 40 minutes. And once again, Lane Delphs, the Caribou goalie, was sharp in that second period, stopping every shot he faced. In the third period, just 4 minutes in, the Cougars were on another power play and they scored, with Chase Dubois making it 3-1. So it looked like an upset. And during this third period, I was watching the game thinking, all right, the Cougars are going to pull off this upset tonight. The number 6 team against the number 3 Valley West Hawks. So in my mind, I had already made up who I was going to interview after the game, thinking that the Cougars might hang on to this lead. And I had those questions prepared in my head as the game was going on. And they were giving a lot of shots, but Lane Delphs, their goalie, was keeping them in the game. But with 7:15 remaining in the third period, Davis Koch scored for the Hawks his second goal of the game to cut the deficit to 3-2, so it was a brand new game. And with less than 3 minutes left in regulation, it was still 3-2. Again, I was on the sideline just going over the questions I was going to ask, going over these questions in my head, and then the crowd suddenly erupted because the Hawks had just tied the game at 3-3 with only 2 minutes and 49 seconds remaining. So it was a brand new game, 3-3, and it was Ty Westgard scoring the equalizer for Valley West. This game was similar to the first game of the Giants-Royals series, and the ending was also very similar as well. With 31 seconds left in regulation, Davis Koch, who already scored 2 goals for the Hawks early in the game, fed the puck to Matt Bradley, who put it past Lane Delphs, the goaltender, for the go-ahead goal to finish off a 2-on-1 break. It was 4-3 Valley West, and that was the way the game ended. Valley West Hawks 4, the Caribou Cougars 3. An exciting finish, 3 goals for the Hawks in the final 7 minutes 15 seconds, and they had stolen the first game from Caribou. Now, after the game, I caught up with Davis Koch, who had 2 goals and also assisted on a game winner for the Hawks. We're with Davis Koch, a forward for the Valley West Hawks. So 2 big goals for you today in Game 1 of the playoffs against Caribou. Thoughts on your performance?
I think we played really well as a team. We got a little played into their game in the second period, but we came back in the third and took over.
Now, you guys were down 3-1 in the third. What gave you guys confidence that you were going to come back?
We just want to get the win in the first game. It's really important in getting ahead in the series, and we just took all of our heart to battle back, and we got the W.
Now, what was it like when Bradley scored the game winner with 30 seconds left in the game?
It was really exciting. I mean, as soon as I passed it to him, I knew he was going to score, and just the excitement filled the whole team, I think.
All right, we'll make this real short. Davis, thanks so much for the interview. Good luck the rest of the way, and hopefully we'll see you in the Talus Cup.
Thank you very much.
And I also spoke with Hawks head coach Tom Spencer. A funny thing here, the dressing room was loud because they were obviously celebrating and they had cranked up the music as part of their celebration. So we had to do the interview in another room, and the lights went out during the middle of the interview with Spencer. With head coach Tom Spencer of the Valley West Hawks. So congratulations on a big win to open the playoffs against Caribou. Thoughts on the game?
Predictable. We knew Prince George's style coming in would be physical and kind of slow us down and slow our offense down and try to play their style of game, dump and chase, and they they played a very good game and they got us to play with them. Now you guys were down 3-1, but came back in the third period, and Matt Bradley scored the game winner with 31 seconds to go. What happened on that winning play? Yeah, I mean, I think the whole season was on that winning play, and it was all about things we've done all season, and we talked about it at the second intermission about going back to what we do well, staying out of the box and not listening to those guys in between whistles, and it was one of those things we just needed to have happen, and it happened. So it was great, and hey, we get one more crack at them tomorrow.
Once again, congratulations, Tom Spencer. The lights have gone out, so we'll make this interview short. Thanks so much, and good luck the rest of the way. Perhaps we'll see you at the Talus Cup.
Thank you very much.
In Game 2, it was all Valley West, as the Hawks led 1-0 in the first period until the late stages when Thomas Webster scored for Caribou to tie the game 1-1 with a minute 48 left. But just a minute and 6 seconds after that, the Hawks went ahead as Ty Westgard scored his second goal of the playoffs. It was 2-1 after 20 minutes. In the second stanza, the Hawks went up 3-1 on a shorthanded goal midway through the period, and then defenseman Jamison Rees scored on a power play with 5:59 remaining. So it was 4-1 for the Valley West Hawks after 2 periods. There will be no more goals until the final minute of the third, when Valley West and Caribou traded goals, and the final score was the Valley West Hawks 5, the Caribou Cougars 2. So the Hawks sweep their series and move on. And now let's check out the 4th place Greater Vancouver Canadians taking on the 5th place Vancouver Northeast Chiefs, with all of the games taking place at the Richmond Oval. Now, with the Greater Vancouver Canadians, most of their players are from Richmond or Vancouver, while the players for the Chiefs are mainly from the Tri-City area of Port Coquitlam, Port Moody, and Coquitlam. Now, these two teams are tied in the standings with 41 points in 40 games, but the Canadians had one more victory, so that's why they get home ice advantage in their home rink at the Richmond Oval. Now, in Game 1 on Friday night, it was the visitors that came out flying. The Chiefs opened the scoring early in the first period, but the Canadians tied it at the midway point. And the Chiefs then went ahead with 8 minutes to go in that opening period before the Canadians tied it at 2-2 with 3.5 minutes left. So it looked like a seesaw battle, tied 2-2 after 20 minutes, but things changed in the second period when Lucas Santucci scored for the Chiefs just 20 seconds in, and it was 3-2. Caleb Fantillo made it 4-2 6.5 minutes later, so the Chiefs had a 2-goal advantage going into the third period. It stayed that way until Jeffrey Wong scored at the midway point of that final period to put Vancouver Northeast ahead 5-2. And then Captain Connor Burke scored 2 goals in the span of a minute and 40 seconds, making it a 7-2 final score for the Vancouver Northeast Chiefs in Game 1 over the Greater Vancouver Canadians. Now, in Game 2 on Saturday, it was all Canadians as they tied the series at 1-1. Kyle Wee scored 3 goals in the first period for the Canadians, a period which saw them get 5 goals to stun the visiting Chiefs. It was 5-1 for the Greater Vancouver Canadians after 20 minutes. Dante Hanoun scored 3 goals over the final 2 periods for the Canadians, giving him 4 for the game. The series was tied 1-1. The final score in Game 2 was the Greater Vancouver Canadians 9, the Vancouver Northeast Chiefs 2. Game 3 of this best-of-3 quarterfinal series took place on Sunday morning at the Richmond Oval to decide who would move on to face the first-place Giants in the next round. Game 3 was tied 1-1 on Sunday after the first period before the hometown Canadians went ahead 2-1 on a power play early in the second to make it 2-1. It stayed that way until 57 seconds remaining in the second period when Ryan Wilkinson put the puck behind goalie Jacob Severson on a rebound. It was 3-1 after 40 minutes. Now, the Chiefs actually had their chances, but were unfortunate as they hit the crossbar once and misfired on some of their other opportunities, so they trailed by 2 goals going into the third. Now, the Canadians and Chiefs traded goals in the first 10 minutes of that third period, and it was 4-2 with 7 minutes remaining in regulation. At that point, the Chiefs were awarded a penalty shot because one of their players was hauled down on a scoring chance. And Captain Connor Burke, the leader of the Chiefs, took that penalty shot but was stopped by goaltender Tyler Shugru. The Canadians then scored just moments later, changing the momentum of the game. The final score was the Greater Vancouver Canadians 5, the Vancouver Northeast Chiefs 2. So the 4th place Canadians survive and they move on to face the top-seeded Giants in the semifinals. It's the 6th year in a row that the Canadians and the Giants would face each other in the playoffs. Chiefs manager Carl Severson, who was on hand at the game in Richmond, was kind enough to speak with me after the tough 5-2 loss by his squad, which eliminated them from the playoffs. We're with manager Carl Severson of the Vancouver Northeast Chiefs. A tough loss today to eliminate you guys from the playoffs. Thoughts on the series?
I thought the series was really strong, KP. We came out a little flat, obviously, in Game 2, but Game 1 we really had control of ourselves and the play of the game and came out firing and made the best of most of our opportunities. And Game 2 we kind of came out a bit flat, and it cost us being down 5-1 after 1, and we rode it to 9-2 finish. But losing 3-2 or 9-2, the boys came back strong today, wanting to put up a good effort, and it had that penalty shot gone in at 4-3 with 7 minutes left, it could have been a whole different ball game. But pretty proud of how the boys played throughout the series. GVC is a good young team. They got a lot of 98s, and they skated hard, skated well, and we wish them luck against the Giants. That'll be a great series.
All right, thank you so much, Carl, for your time, and good luck next season.
You bet. Thanks, PP.
And what Carl meant there by GVC and the 98s. GVC, of course, would be the Greater Vancouver Canadians, and the 98s, he was referring to the fact that that team had a lot of players born in 1998. So a very young team, but they managed to pull out the series victory over the Chiefs. And finally, in the other quarterfinal series, the only one in the first round that didn't take place in the Lower Mainland, it was the second-place Okanagan Rockets sweeping the seventh-place Fraser Valley Thunderbirds, winning 7-0 and 10-2. Brandon Barry got the shutout for the Rockets in Game 1. Tanner Campbell had 2 goals for Okanagan in Game 2, and the Rockets completed the 2-game sweep over the Thunderbirds. So the Rockets move on, and they face the Valley West Hawks in the semifinals this weekend. It would be the second-place Rockets facing the third-place Hawks in this exciting matchup. And of course, both of the semifinal series began last night on Friday night, and I'll recap the entire series on the next program. And also with SFU men's hockey, let's switch gears for a moment. Their season has ended. Last weekend, the men's team lost their best-of-3 playoff series to Trinity Western 2-1, dropping the final game by a score of 4-1 at home on Sunday. So the SFU men's hockey team season is over, and they finished with the second-best record in the BC Intercollegiate Hockey League standings during regular season play, with an astounding record of 19 wins, just 3 regulation losses, and 2 overtime losses in their 24 games. And they finished 1 point back of Selkirk College, who won their last 9 games of the regular season to edge out SFU in the standings. And unfortunately, SFU then lost, as mentioned, to Trinity Western University, who had a losing record this year during the regular season. They lost to Trinity Western in the playoffs. So again, that's why you play the games on the ice, and it's not about looking at who's better than whom on paper, because anybody can beat anybody any given night. So unfortunately, again, for SFU, they lost in the first round of the playoffs. That's actually going to do it for this week's program. We've recapped all of the action in the BC Major Midget League playoffs. We've got a couple of series happening this weekend. All the scores, standings, and also the statistics, you can go on to the BC Major Midget League website at www.bcmml.net to check out the information. Again, that's www.bcmml.net. That's going to do it for this week's program, and we'll be back 1 week from now for the next show. In the meantime, get out to Burnaby and catch the Vancouver Northwest Giants and the Greater Vancouver Canadians on Saturday for Game 2 of their series. The game is free to attend, and we'll talk to you again next time.